On the headlines, President Tinubu calls for sacrifice to move Nigeria forward. Vice President Shettima arrives U.S. for World Food Prize International Dialogue. Plus, Bestie Obaseki promises girl child empowerment through football. Hello and a very warm welcome to all our viewers in Nigeria and around the world to Global TV's News Express, live in Nigeria's capital, Abuja. I am Judith Peters. On the news, President Bola Ahmed Tinubu has emphasized the need for sacrifice from citizens and religious leaders in order to restore Nigeria to its rightful position in the international community. Tinubu assured Nigerians that even though the nation is currently facing challenges, better days are ahead. The president disclosed this during a closed-door meeting with a delegation of Southwest Muslim faithful led by Razaki Oladejo in Abuja. The president explained that his administration policies aim to create a fair, better and honest society where hard work is rewarded and laziness is discouraged. They acknowledge that the current situation may seem complex and challenging, but he assured everyone that it will eventually get better. President Bola Tinubu also mentioned the difficult decision of removing the petroleum subsidy, highlighting that this was necessary for Nigerian sustainability. As well, the President Bola Tinubu has met with the special envoy of the President of South Korea, Oh Hae-young, to discuss the areas in which a further expansion of investment and trade ties across key sectors of Nigeria's economy can efficiently occur. The meeting, which took place at the State House, was a follow-up to productive discussions between President Bola Tinubu and South Korean President Yoon Suk Yeol during the G20 Leaders Summit in New Delhi. The President Tinubu commended the effort that has been made in implementing the commitment made during his discussion with President Yoon in India. As he hopes for increased South Korean presence in the transformation of Nigeria's national multimodal transportation system and the need for greater South Korean investment in the establishment of local industries for youth empowerment and technology transfer, as Nigeria seeks to understudy and replicate South Korea's national transportation system. In another development, the Nigerian Vice President Kashim Shettima on Sunday arrived in the United States for the African Development Bank's World Food Prize. Shettima will participate in the AFDP World Food Prize facilitated Norman E. Balog International Dialogue, which will commence on October 24th in Iowa. This was contained in a statement by the spokesman to the President on Media and Communications Office of the Vice President, Stanley Okocha. The VP is billed to attend high-stakes meeting across some states of the U.S. with manufacturers, investors, and top government officials. According to Okocha, the Vice President will use the platform to speak to his potentiality and endowment of Nigeria's agricultural sector, persuade investors, and push for commitment in achieving President Bola Tinubu's mandate and programs for Nigeria's agro-food sector. The federal government is set to build 34,000 homes in selected cities and state capitals across the 36 states and the FCT under the first phase of the Renewed Hope Cities project. Minister of Housing and Urban Development Ahmed Dangiwa made this disclosure yesterday at a meeting with the Controller General of Immigration at the ministry's headquarters in Abuja. He said increasing access to decent quality and affordable housing for all Nigerians is a major priority of the government. According to him, the major focus areas is to reform all federal housing agencies such as the Federal Mortgage Bank of Nigeria, FMBN, and Federal Housing Authority, while explaining that the cities will stand as symbols of inclusivity, ensuring that every Nigerian family, regardless of their income level, has a place to call home. The minister stated that the FMBN would focus on affordable houses using single-digit interest rates and long tenures up to 30 years to contribute to National Housing Forward Scheme, while the FHA has flexibility to develop houses for high-income segments. Meanwhile, the federal government says it has made plans in a new policy plan for cancer survivors to be centered to adequately. The Director General, National Institute for Cancer Research and Treatment, NICRAT, Usman Aliyu, disclosed this in an interview on Saturday in Abuja. According to him, the plan is contained in one of the 3 cancer policies aimed at aiding cancer prevention and treatment in Nigeria. The federal government will inaugurate soon. He said that the institute has, since its establishment in January, been working on the policies that are expected to ensure that cancer prevention, treatment, and research into all cancer issues are put on the front burner. In a 5-year plan that will span for 2023 to 2027, and that is encompassing the plan will be a leading guide to all the activities of cancer in the country, and it cuts across the area of cancer prevention, diagnosis, treatment, palliative care, and even survivorship for the first time. Aliyu also said that the institute has finalized work with the World Health Organization, WHO, and other partners to develop the nation's first national cervical cancer control plan 2023 to 2027. The human rights lawyer Femi Falana's son has called on the National Assembly to address Nigeria's worrisome out-of-school crisis to save the future of the country. Falana made the call in a speech he read at a summit on Nigeria's out-of-school crisis hosted by the UK charity IA Foundation in Lagos at the weekend. The activist said that the refusal of state government to make counterpart contribution to the Universal Basic Education Fund and the country was hampering access to basic education in Nigeria. Falana, in a speech made available to the press in Abuja on Sunday, stressed the need for the National Assembly to act fast, lamenting that the number of out-of-school children in the country was alarming. As well, the Minister for Humanitarian Affairs and Poverty Alleviation, Betta Edu, has said the renewed hope agenda of President Bola Tinubu was giving young Nigerians productive opportunities with primary innovative ideas through different startup initiatives. Edu, who was joined by the European Union and representatives of 48 other countries in Hague, the Netherlands capital, made this known during an open remark in an event to discuss the disturbing migration issue involving young people in Africa and the world. Edu noted that exploring the connection between migration, youth, and development was important, as the youth between age 15 and 25 years will make up 16% of the world's population, a growing mobile demographic that could play a significant role in fostering positive development. She further disclosed that in Nigeria, like in other parts of Africa, the youth have developed a robust startup ecosystem, attracting over $2 billion USD in investment between 2015 and 2022. As the war between Israel and Palestine rages on, global affairs analysts have continued to speak to the issue at the heart of the conflict. Speaking on Global TV's breakfast program, Global Morning, during the week, Dr. Mukhtar Imam, an associate professor of international relations and diplomacy, discusses historical perspectives to the conflict, foreign intervention, and the imperative of finding lasting peace. Agbamofuegbe completes the rest of the report.
Dr. Imam stated that the tussle between both countries far predates the current conflict as is being witnessed, stressing that it all goes as far back as events from over 100 years ago.
The conflict in Palestine or Israel, or between Palestinians and Israel or Hamas, whatever group has been mentioned today, did not start yesterday,
right.
It did not start last week, and it did not start with this conflict. It actually started with the first influx of the Jewish Zionist group into the Palestinian land. That incursion basically sets the pace for what we are witnessing today. All of this started with, of course, the Balfour Declaration officially in November of 1917. But even before then, recall in 1914, 1915, 16, there was a Sykes-Picot Agreement that basically partitioned the area. And so what that did was to take the land of the first person, hand it over to the second person
On the role of the United States and its allies in finding amicable solution to the conflict, Dr. Imam said,
left to the people within the region, this would have been over a long time ago. But the reality is that there is an alien incursion going on. And for that alien incursion to be sustained, it has to have an unalloyed and unflinching support from somewhere. A backing that is going to send in warships, a backing that is going to send in military groups, a backing that is going to send in warplanes and so on and so forth, as soon as there is a mention of a conflict within the region, which is highly irresponsible and immoral of any country to do. This is exactly what the United States and the UK have done.
As the development unfolds, the Associate Professor of International Relations, who is also an author, reminds Hamas that it has a role to play towards ensuring peace and, as such, carries a responsibility to understand the implications of taking hostage under the guise of protecting its territory.
But again, Hamas must understand that so long as it operates within the ambit of the international laws, it must realize that these Israelis that are in its custody also have rights to international humanitarian rights as well.
So both sides must take responsibility for their actions.
Of course, the sanctity of life must be preserved because these are civilians. And if they claim to be Muslims, which of course they are claiming to come from the background of Islam, they must also understand that there is the Siyara, which is the law among nations, which has existed and has been a code of conduct and a code of law, even in times of war for Muslims.
Meanwhile, Palestinian ambassador to the UK, Hussam Zamlot, has claimed Israel was responsible for a hospital blast in Gaza that killed hundreds. Uyi Agmofwegbe reporting for Global TV News.
You're watching Global TV News Express, coming to you live from Nigeria's capital, Abuja. On Startimes, channel 276. Kindly follow us across our social media platform using the Global TV NG and other handles now showing on your TV screen. When the News Express returns, federal government records 1.3 trillion naira in revenue shortfall. The news continues shortly with details of these and other stories right after this break. Please don't go away. Welcome back, and if you're just joining us, it's still Global Television bringing you live broadcast of the News Express from Nigeria's capital, Abuja. On the foreign scene, where German Chancellor Olaf Scholz has hailed the arrival of truck carrying humanitarian aid in the besieged Gaza Strip on Saturday, marking the first delivery of relief goods since the start of the war. The German Foreign Minister Annalena Baerbock was in Egypt Saturday to participate in a summit for peace organized by the Egyptian president. She said in a post on X handle on Saturday that the civilian population of Gaza lacks everything and called for expanded deliveries. These first aid deliveries in Gaza are a sign of hope in these difficult times. Baerbock posted. Germany said Thursday that it was going to give 50 million euros in additional aid for civilians in Gaza on the first stage of Baerbock's mini tour of the Middle East. Hamas have released 2 U.S. hostages who were abducted during the Palestinian group's deadly raid on Israel this month. Israel confirmed they had received mother and daughter Judith and Natalie Rana from Hamas at the Gaza boundary. The pair was freed from humanitarian reasons, Hamas said. U.S. President Joe Biden said he was overjoyed at their release and confirmed he had spoken with the Ranas on the phone. They were the first captive released since the gunmen raided Israel on 7th October, killing 1,400 people and taking around 200 hostages. Brigadier General Gal Herod, together with members of the Israel Defense Force IDF, received the 2 hostages from Hamas at the boundary of the Palestinian enclave on Friday evening. Said the Israeli Prime Minister's office, the Iranians were taken to a military base in the center of the country, where family members were waiting, said the PM's office. And as we turn to business, let's take a look at how the recent lifting of foreign exchange restrictions on 43 items by the Central Bank of Nigeria, CBN, has sparked reactions among Nigerians on its impact on rising food prices across the country. The CBN imposed the restrictions in June 2015 to conserve foreign exchange reserves and promote local production of certain goods, including about 11 food items. However, the policy has been criticized by some experts who argue that it has led to higher prices of imported food items and contributed to food inflation. Sandra Akpa completes the rest of the report.
The Central Bank of Nigeria had, in a circular, published a list of imported goods and services that will not be eligible for foreign exchange in the Nigerian foreign currency market. The list, which was originally 41, was updated to include 2 more items. Nigeria's inflation rate rose to 26.72% in September 2023, amid soaring food prices and harsh economic realities occasioned by the removal of fuel subsidy in May. In separate interviews carried out at Utako Market, Abuja, Nigerians have this to say with regards to the cost of food prices and ban lifted on 43 items.
Since the government removed fuel subsidy, honestly, price of commodities, they are going higher and higher and higher every day because of the removal of the fuel subsidy. So, assuming that he put something in place before removing the fuel subsidy, it could have been better. But now, nothing. The thing affected the prices of commodities in the market. Let them import food. Hence, our farmers cannot be able to go to the farm to go and farm as usual because of kidnappers and Boko Haram and bandits. It's necessary because they are necessary commodities. It's necessary. Palm oil, vegetable oil, rice, this is spaghetti and other food items. It is necessary.
I've heard about the 43 items lifted. For rice and other edible items, I think it's okay because of we are not yet producing enough to feed the nation. So I think restricting ban on such items is actually the best thing that can happen to us.
The price of food, like when you go to the market today, you buy something. When you're going back tomorrow, just carry like double of the money you use in buying what you bought yesterday. Because of every day, the prices of food goes up. And people use this as an advantage. Even those that are cheap, they will still add money again to increase the prices. So every day, the transportation is also something else.
Nigerians are of the opinion that for these 43 items and other commodities to be affordable, the cost of fuel has to be reviewed downwards in order for farmers and importers to be able to transport their items to their various destinations.
I was discussing with a friend that everything is still lie on fuel. Like they will still transport it wherever it's coming from. So they will still transport it. So since the price of fuel is still high, the price of foodstuff in the market will still be high.
Sandra Akpa, reporting for Global TV News.
National Bureau of Statistics, NBS, has said the average retail price of a litre of petrol increased from 191.65 naira in September 2022 to 626.21 naira in September 2023. It made the declaration in its petrol price watch for September 2023 release in Abuja on Saturday. The NBS also stated in its diesel price watch report for September 2023 that the average retail price was 890.80 per litre. It explained further that the September 2023 price of 890 naira per litre amounted to a 12.77% increase over the 789 naira per litre paid in September 2022. As well, the federal government's 2023 budget recorded a 1.255 trillion naira shortfall in its projected revenue generation between January and July this year. The 2024 to 2026 medium-term economic framework (MTEF) prepared by the government indicated that of the 11.4 5.45 trillion naira projected for the year, the actual collection was 5.187 trillion naira instead of the prior rate of 6.442 trillion naira. Therefore, leaving a shortfall of 1.255 trillion naira on the expenditure. The administration spent much less than it's projected, as it spent only 8.6 trillion naira as at the end of July, out of the 21.83 trillion naira budgeted for the year. According to the document, estimated at 21.83 trillion naira with a pro-rate spending target of 12.29 trillion naira at the end of July. 0.08 billion naira has been released for MDS capital expenditure as of July 2023. And now, sport. Wife of the Edo State Governor, Bessie Obasake, says our annual football competition, the Bessie Obasake Women's Football Tournament, will continue to serve as a platform to emancipate the girl child. Obasake stated this during a ceremony to unveil the mascot and theme of the competition, which holds from October 23rd to November 1st in Benin City, the Edo State capital, on Friday. The competition, with the theme "End Gender-Based Violence," is aimed at enhancing sporting talent in the state and will highlight the efforts made by the Governor Godwin Obasake-led administration to end gender-based violence in the state. 13 teams will contend for honors at this year's edition. To end Global TV's News Express, a quick look at our top stories. President Bola Ahmed Tinubu has called on Southwest Muslim leaders to make sacrifice in order to move Nigeria forward. Vice President Shettima has arrived in the United States, where he is scheduled to attend World Food Prize International Dialogue. Finally, we told you, wife of Edo State Governor Obasake has promised to empower the girl child through football. And that's it on Global TV News Express, coming to you live from Nigeria's capital, Abuja. On StarTimes channel 276. Kindly follow us across our social media platform using the Global TV NG and other handles now showing on your TV screen. On behalf of the production team, I am Judith Peters. Thank you so very much for watching.